Stepping up to the couch, it's Brian, who led the league last season in cracked screens. But with his new athletic case, it looks like that won't be the case. Touchdown, Brian!
What you just witnessed was a metaphor. The knife was the NBA draft lottery, and the ball was my spirit and happiness. I don't ask for much in this world. I don't get out much. I only have a handful of friends. They're really good ones, but not a lot of them. I'm a poor student. I'm relying on this shitty website for my entire future career. All I asked for was the first pick in the NBA draft, or at the very minimum, the second pick. And what do my Chicago Bulls get? The 7th pick again. Really? Again. Like, I posted this on Twitter the other day, and damn it if it isn't true. Now don't get me wrong, I have loved the last 2 draft picks made by the Bulls at 7. Lauri Markkanen has potential to be a LaMarcus Aldridge level player, the difference being Markkanen operating from 3 rather than mid-range. Basically a very good offensive 4 that is pretty much meh on defense, neither great nor terrible. And Wendell Carter Jr. has a lot of potential to be a more athletic Al Horford, being able to do a little bit of everything while being a fantastic defender. But here's the problem. Al Horford and LaMarcus Aldridge cannot be the best player on a championship team. And whoever we were to get with the 7th pick more than likely will not be the best player on a championship team. I understand there can be variables to this. So that was basically a 2-minute rant about why I am dead inside.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
With that out of the way, I want to talk about what the Chicago Bulls should do with the 7th pick in the draft. And as seems in the moment, and I'm only saying that because we know shit can happen with the draft, as seems in the moment, there are 4, maybe 5 options going into the draft. So now I'm gonna roll the intro 2 minutes into the video, and if you have a problem with that, you can suck my left nut.
Rebound. Save. Absolutely incredibly with the acrobatic alley-oop.
Now, I said there were maybe 5 options, but definitely 4. The 5th potential option may have been debunked. Now, 2 things here. 1, if you want to suggest trading up for the first pick, stop, because it's not going to happen. Seriously, stop. The Pelicans are going to keep the first pick, and they're going to use it to draft Zion Williamson. Just accept that. And the second thing is, the only guy that I wanted other than Zion was Ja Morant. With his scoring ability and athleticism combined with his amazing playmaking ability, I really wanted the guy. But, and like I said, this could be a huge stretch. There is a chance that the Grizzlies could be willing to trade down to the 7th pick, because that has been a rumor going around. A package of Chris Dunn, Chandler Hutchinson, the 7th pick, and the Bulls' 2020 unprotected first-round pick, unprotected being very key there, could work. And I think that could potentially work out for both teams. It could be similar to the Luka-Trae Young trade, where initially maybe people laugh at Memphis, but it ends up being a mutual trade for both sides. However, if you're a Memphis Grizzlies fan, you could very well disagree with me. I understand that I am biased here. Duh. However, the possibility of this, like I said, has pretty much been squashed, because a lot of reports have indicated that the Memphis Grizzlies are dead set on drafting Ja Morant. However, you can only trust reports so much. If Woj didn't tweet it, it's not guaranteed. But that's probably not happening. Next, we have to talk about pretty much the only other guy from this draft that I've paid any attention to, and that is Darius Garland, who is a point guard out of Vanderbilt who got injured early in the season and was only able to play 5 games, but in those 5 games, he averaged 16 points on 54, 48, 75 shooting splits. The only concern is that he averaged just 2.6 assists per game. However, watching his highlights from both high school and college, he's a much better passer than his assist average would indicate. He could be available at pick number 7, but there is also a real chance that the Phoenix Suns take him at 6, because they need a point guard just as bad as the Chicago Bulls do. If he doesn't fall, there are 2 other possible prospects, Kobe White and Cameron Reddish. With Cam, I feel he is pretty redundant next to Levine, and he doesn't solve the point guard problem, and he's really inconsistent, both with shooting and how much he cares, and there's also a good chance he's not available at 7. Kobe White to me is very similar to Colin Sexton. His shiftiness, his size, and his play style all are very similar to me. That's not terrible, but I like Garland's game as a scorer, as he's more of a sure thing as a shooter than Kobe White's. And as playmakers, they are both about the same, which really concerns me because looking at this Bulls roster, Lauri Markkanen is a great stretch 4, Zach LaVine is an offensive robot programmed to get buckets. There are a lot of criticisms around his game that are really dumb, but that's a topic for another video. Wendell Carter is a solid post player, good pick and roll player, really good passing big man, and at the very least, he is a good mid-range shooter. His 3-point game should develop. Otto Porter Jr. is one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA. He was an 18-point per game scorer with the Chicago Bulls, being way more aggressive than he has ever been before. Lauri Levine and OPJ can average high teens to mid-20s in points per game, and while Wendell Carter might not be a big-time scorer, he can benefit the offense with his screens, finishing at the rim, and passing. So with a team like that, a player like Kobe White or Darius Garland isn't really necessary, and isn't really making the team better. It's kind of redundant. The team could run into a Boston Celtics type of problem where there are way too many guys who really want to score the ball. So now we have to talk about something that I really don't want to talk about. This is a tough pill to swallow that unfortunately I think the Bulls are gonna have to swallow. That pill is Lonzo Ball. So Bulls fans need to swallow balls. This metaphor is getting weird. There's been a rumor that the Chicago Bulls would trade any pick that they get that wasn't top 2 to the Lakers for Lonzo Ball. Now the Lakers might not be willing to take this trade. I think if you threw in Chris Dunn as a sweetener, you could make it happen, but if it went through, I think that would be the best possible outcome for the Bulls. Now, Lonzo Ball is a very controversial player, and because of that, I'm expecting the comment section of this video to be a clusterfuck. Some Bulls fans are gonna say, fuck no, he's trash, he's not worth the 7th pick. And Lakers fans and Lonzo stans, because those are somehow a thing, will probably say Lonzo is worth way more than the 7th pick, and I'm insane for even suggesting that idea. The thing is, both of those people are wrong. Lonzo is neither trash, nor is he amazing. He is a great defender, he is a great playmaker and really good rebounder for a point guard, but every other aspect of his game is either mediocre or bad. Specifically, scoring the ball. He is bad from everywhere on the court. He can't finish at the rim, he is a very mediocre to very below average 3-point shooter, and his mid-range game is non-existent. This year he averaged 4.9 3-point attempts per game, shooting 33% from there. And worst of all, he shoots 42% from the free-throw line. No, I wasn't accidentally reading Shaq's free throw percentage because those would be better. An NBA point guard is shooting 42% from the free throw line. I don't think I can properly express how bad those stats are other than just putting up a graphic of the actual percentage. But despite the fact that Lonzo Ball cannot score to save his damn life, his playmaking and defense would be amazing on this team. The biggest concern for the Chicago Bulls' future after the Jimmy Butler trade was the defense, because Lauri and Levine are at best going to be very mediocre defenders. But since then, the Bulls drafted Wendell Carter Jr., a potentially great defender, borderline Defensive Player of the Year candidate, already a good one, Otto Porter Jr., who is one of the highest ranking defensive wings in the league last year, and then add in Lonzo, and you not only make up for Levine and Lauri's defensive issues, but you actually make a good to great great defensive team, assuming the bench isn't filled with a bunch of terrible defenders. Lonzo, Porter, and Wendell is a good defensive core. Throw in some 3-and-D guys off of the bench, and this can be a top 10 defensive team. And offensively, assuming that this team can finally stay healthy, which is another issue with Lonzo Ball, I think they can be a top 10 offensive team as well. Here's why I feel that way. If you didn't know, the Chicago Bulls had an amazing February this season. From February 8th to March 1st, the Bulls went 6-3 and had one of the best offensive rankings in the league. Zach LaVine averaged 27 on 52, 49, 81 splits, and most importantly, he averaged 6.3 assists per game. Lauri Markkanen averaged 26 and 13 on 47, 35, 88 splits, and a lot of this was sparked by the addition of Otto Porter Jr., who was also amazing. But it was also because the Bulls' pace and passing went up significantly. I can't find the stats, but I know for most of the year the Chicago Bulls were towards the bottom of the league in pace. But they finally decided, hey, crazy idea, maybe our team made up of 20-year-olds should be running a little bit. So that month of February gave a glimpse into the Bulls' future. The high shooting percentage from LaVine and a high production of Lauri can't be expected over an entire season, but the play style can stick around. Now add in Wendell Carter Jr., who is a much better player than Robin Lopez, who was starting. He's also a much faster player, so he'll be more willing to run the break. And Lonzo Ball, who is a much better playmaker than Chris Dunn, and I think a top 10 offense and defense is possible. Now that sure as fuck doesn't equal contender, and I would never claim it to, and it also doesn't equal that in the future because this team has no future top 5 player, but the team can be like the 6th seed in the East, 8th seed minimum, and down the line a juggernaut of an offensive team could be in the making, and a pretty damn good defensive team could be coming as well. And with Lonzo, maybe a new situation away from the bright lights of LA and the expectations that come with being LeBron's teammate will help him open up some more. And the fact that this team is filled with shooters is definitely going to be a big benefit to Lonzo, who was playing with one of the worst shooting teams in the league for the first 2 years of his career. Ultimately, I think Lonzo is a big enough risk that he's worth no more than the 7th pick in Chris Dunn, but he also could work out enough that he is worth taking that risk. Is any of this better than Zion or even Ja Morant being added to the team? Hell no. But it's something that I can live with. And rest in peace to my shitty old basketball. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.